Wow. So, Gary,
Hey, El.
tell us, after pissing off the entire internet yesterday, did you mean that Dak take, or were you just trolling Stephen A?
Here's the thing about that, El. I meant it, and I just so happened to also troll Stephen A in the process.
Welcome to the Elle Duncan Show with Gary Striesky, who has made quite a name for himself with social media uniting for just a few things. There's not much that social media unites on, but
No.
they're all united in dunking on you, Gary Striesky, after what you said yesterday. This would be on Thursday, as we are
Yes.
taping the show on Friday, because Gary was doing the First Take SportsCenter crossover. I did it on Wednesday. That was
hmm
fun. Gary did it with Randy Scott, Nicole Briscoe, and Michael Eaves yesterday. There was four of them.
hmm
But right off the bat, you guys,
Right off the bat.
just immediately off the bat, Gary goes with one of the most ridiculous takes. And
Whoa, whoa, El, not you too.
the question was, who do you trust the most to beat Patrick Mahomes?
hmm
Okay. Go ahead and you can think of a couple, not many. There's not many. This is not like a long list. You can think of a couple. For most people, your
hmm
answer would not have come to mind, but you decided in front of Stephen A's face, playing right in his face, noted Dallas Cowboys hater, someone who the day before tried to attack me because I said, whether he's elite or not, you have to pay this man.
Yep.
I did. And he was like,
Okay.
what? You said that the person you trust most to beat Patrick Mahomes is a guy that's only won two postseason games ever in his whole entire career. And that would be
Randy co-signed this take
No,
for
he
me.
did not.
Give me Dak Prescott. I want Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs.
Mr. Dak
God.
Prescott.
What?
El, one day later, you laying it out just like that, you might think I might have cowered under the pressure and under the onslaught of people on the internet pretending to be professional football ball knowers. All right. I stand 24 hours later, even more firmly in my position after watching what I said, how I explained it, and exactly how I broke things down. El, everything that we do here is hypothetical. Everything is, hey, what about this scenario, that scenario? El, the question itself was so black and white that I don't understand how it's going over the heads of not just Dallas haters, but even Cowboys fans who are like, Gary, I ride with the Cowboys and I rock with you, brother, but I cannot rock with you in this instance. I'm glad that you brought up the two wins and the multiple losses in the playoffs. Very much like two-time league MVP Lamar Jackson, 2-4 all time in the playoffs. Okay. Dak Prescott, which you said Wednesday, and Stephen A. Smith reaffirmed today as I was watching the show, is an elite regular season quarterback, having led the Cowboys to multiple 12-5 finishes in the regular season. So the question was, who would I trust to beat Patrick Mahomes? Break this down two ways, and then I'm not going to spend too much time on it. I want to get your opinion. If they play in the regular season, we know Dak Prescott is an elite regular season quarterback, to which they have not played the Chiefs in the regular season since 2021. So it stands to reason that because he's elite, he can beat a Patrick Mahomes regular season team. Not just because Dak Prescott led the NFL in scoring offense last season, second in MVP voting and second in yards, and first in completion percentage. Not outside the realm of possibility that a regular season Cowboys team can beat a regular season Chiefs team. Okay, but the hypothetical was one game. So I'm assuming the Super Bowl because the NFC and the AFC are different, and these quarterbacks are on different sides of it. It
Mhm.
stands to assume that if they're playing one game, it's the Super Bowl. So gone is the reputation that he can't win in the playoffs because they are playing in the Super Bowl, L. So if you're going through the NFC and all of a sudden you're meeting the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, give me Dak Prescott, who led the number one scoring offense in the NFL. And what everybody wants to gloss over is the fact that I said, I have faith in the Dallas defense stopping Patrick Mahomes because they have Lawrence Taylor reincarnated on defense and Micah Parsons who can go sideline to sideline. And they have two of the best ball hawking secondary members in Deron Landry and Trayvon Diggs back, healthy, ready to intercept Patrick Mahomes.
You don't
That's
think the Niners
exactly
have a
what I
formidable
said.
defense?
Say that again.
You don't think the Niners have a formidable defense?
They certainly do, and they took the Chiefs to overtime in last year's Super Bowl.
Did they win?
All I'm saying is the 49ers, while a great offense too, CMC, they got it all. Do I have faith in Dak Prescott a little bit more? A little bit more than Brock Purdy. Yes. And a little bit more might be the difference between a 3-point overtime Super Bowl loss for the 49ers and a close Super Bowl win for the Cowboys. You say what?
The issue with all of this is that you just glossed over all of the things that the Cowboys can't do. You're like, if they can win 3 or 4 games in the postseason, and if they can get to the Super Bowl, well, sure. Like in a one-off situation, especially once you get to the Super Bowl. But that's the problem, Gary, is like, how do you have any trust in them to even make a conference championship? Because
That's what we were debating, El.
They don't do that. No, no. The question was, who do you trust? Now, here's what I thought you were doing. I'm gonna be honest with you. Because like on its head, on its surface, the most obvious answer is the one that Stephen A gave. It's Joe Burrow.
That's the least obvious. Joe Burrow's
No,
coming off of a bad ankle, a bad Achilles, and a bad wrist, and he lost his backfield.
He's the only one that started out his career with a winning record against Patrick Mahomes. I mean, I'm old enough to remember, like, before his injury, us going, uh-oh, like, Patrick Mahomes can't solve this Joe Burrow riddle. I mean, he was going toe-to-toe with him, and they were beating the Chiefs. So he's the only one that has done it with any level of consistency since Patrick Mahomes came into the league. That's the most obvious one. And yes, like him being injured and all of those things aside, trust is built in a little bit of what you've already seen, not just faith. That's faith. What you say is, I have faith in the Cowboys. Faith is something that you've never seen before, but you still believe it can happen. Trust is something that you've seen, and so you're sort of going with an educated guess. Yes, this is all a guess, but the educated guess would be to go with the guy that's already proven he can beat Patrick Mahomes, and not just in a one-off, more than one times. That would be Joe Burrow. You chose a guy who they literally can't even get to a conference championship. So you don't have to worry about Patrick Mahomes because you can't get to a conference championship. I think what I thought you were doing was, I thought, because let's take the people behind the scenes a little bit. When you have these types of shows, it is important to make sure there is difference of opinions. If all 3 of you, being you, Randy, and Stephen A, had sat up there and said Joe Burrow, that's certainly not a 27, 30-minute argument, which is what it ultimately ended up being because you pissed off
30
Stephen
minutes
A
out of the
so
gate.
much.
It was unbelievable.
Which is why because you pissed off Stephen A so bad. I thought you were, trying to present some. I thought your numbers were really good. You had a whole presentation. It's as if you knew that this was not going to go over well, so you wanted those stats to support it. I thought you were trying to rile him up a little bit. Nothing riles up Stephen A more than the Cowboys. Nothing riles up Stephen A more than saying Dak Prescott is really good in general. And I thought you were trying to be like the contrarian a little bit. I did not know you actually stood on that. I think that is asinine.
I stand on it. This is the first time, Stephen A and I have seen each other in passing at events and whatnot. This was the first time I've had like a face-to-face conversation with him. That didn't even cross my mind that I was going to pull the pin on this grenade, drop it into a conversation, but accidentally lock myself in the room to which I just pulled the pin on the grenade.
But the WNBA season re-kicked off on Thursday night, Gare Bear. And I said on First Take on Wednesday, like one of the things that I was looking forward to was just watching A'ja Wilson dominate. I think we are so apathetic. I've said this a million times to greatness that we're just like, yeah, whatever. We expect it. She's having the kind of season we've never seen in the WNBA, not ever, not never. So looking forward to that. But we want to give some crystal ball predictions. And honestly, based on your prediction yesterday, I'm not sure I want to know what you think here. But one of the things, of course, that we're looking most forward to amongst the varying storylines is the Rookie of the Year race. Now, tonight, Friday night, in action, we're going to see the Indiana Fever, who have had a month off. Nobody was on their Olympic roster on that team. So they have fully had 1 month off from the time they tipped tonight, taken on the Mercury, a team that feel like they have not shown who they can be, that they haven't been at full strength, and they feel like they can make a run. Brittany Griner said, y'all don't want to see us coming. We're ready. We're going to make a push in this second half. But the Rookie of the Year race, I think, is really, really interesting. We've talked about this one before, so I'll go over it very quickly. Angel Reese, 17 double-doubles, actually make that 18 double-doubles this season after yesterday. Tied for the second most by a rookie in a single season. And it stands to reason she's going to break Tina Charles' record from 2010. And then there's Caitlin Clark, who would be the first rookie ever to average 15 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists per game. The first one, and just the 5th player ever in league history to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I've said that I still, right now, I'm riding with Caitlin. It's like a 1A, 1B conversation. Caitlin as my rookie of the year, just because I do think it's harder for guards to make their impact in the way that she has. But I do think ultimately, Gary, this is going to come down to which one of these teams makes the playoffs, which one of these women is more integral in their team returning to the playoffs. We saw the Sky yesterday in action get mollywopped despite Angel getting another double-double, and the Fever kickoff action today. Who you got? Who you going with?
I love all of that. It's interesting to see that the Aces, because right now, only 12 teams, only 8 get into the WNBA playoffs, and the Aces are like middle of the pack right now. Yes, are they charging? Yes, are they going to get hot at the right time? Asia Wilson has been hot this entire time, but they are looking like they're rounding into form. Although what's happening with Becky Hammon and the Dearica Hamby like lawsuit, I don't know if that's gonna like I don't know what, if any, distraction, derailment, issues that'll cause. Like, when you chop off the head of the snake, so to speak, with the head coach, if she's like going to be under any sort of scrutiny or any sort of, I don't know, legality issues with that. Don't know. TBD. Are you're pursing your lips like you want to say something?
No, this is a story that's not new. It's maybe newer to
Sure.
some W fans. It's something that Dearica had talked about when she left the Aces, or when she ended up landing in Los Angeles. So certainly there's been a lot of animus between them. They've already been suspended for it. I think this is
Correct.
becoming renewed because of the lawsuit, because of the leak of these reported text messages between
Texts
her
and
and Becky
calls are
Hammon.
pretty bad.
And honestly, it feels like, in terms of like picking sides, and I don't want to assume here, it just feels like, as I'm doing context clues and putting things together, that some of the sound that we've sort of heard from the Aces players is that they're on Becky Hammon's side. So I'm not really sure that
Okay.
this is going to cause any sort of distraction. What it could do is galvanize, right? Like, okay,
Sure.
our coach is facing a lot of scrutiny. I mean, look at Michigan last year. Like, they were
Yes.
like, doing it for you, Jim. And so I think it could be like sort of be that sort of effect. I really don't think it's going to have an impact either way, but if it did have an impact, I would say it would be more in the galvanizing spirit than
Okay,
in
cool.
comparing
That's a good distinction to make, because we know the WNBA, more than a lot of other leagues, are very, very much like, hey, we got to incubate like this players, and the Players
Yeah.
Association is very much like players watch out for one another. So like if they're going to ostracize anybody, it's going to be like one of the head coaches, in my estimation, being on the outside looking into the WNBA. So that distinction, very important, that you think they would rally behind Becky Hammon as opposed to the alternative. But I think the number one headline, the prevailing headline, is the Rookie of the Year race, and I don't even think it's close. I don't think it's going to be close. When you're talking about like second half success and player success, the Chicago Sky are only a couple of years removed from being WNBA champions. Yes, it's a completely
Total
different
rebuild.
team, completely different makeup. Understand that. Candace Parker went home to win that WNBA title, but that was like within the last 4 years, right?
Yeah.
They were a playoff team just one season ago. Right now, they are the 8 seed in the WNBA playoffs, and we're talking about an Indiana Fever team led by Caitlin Clark that hasn't made the playoffs since 2016. She wasn't even in college at this point, right? So this predates her college hooping career, the Indiana Fever's WNBA playoff success, playoff appearance. So the fact that right now the Fever are the 7 seed in the WNBA playoffs, to me, boom, stop the count, stop the fight. She's the WNBA Rookie of the Year this morning on SportsCenter, because the second half of the season started yesterday. We're taping this on a Friday. It started on a Thursday. So we did like, hey, Caitlin Clark and the Fever back in action. So too is Angel Reese in the Sky. Let's take a look back and see some of Clark's highlights before we went to the Olympic break. And it's just another reminder that before the break, she became the first rookie ever to record a triple double, and it was against oh gosh, either way, it was against a very good team. Sorry, the name is blanking right now. And additionally, she became the all-time single game assists leader ever, rookie or otherwise. So she's doing stuff that we've quite literally never seen a rookie do, and doing stuff that we only see veteran players do. So I think if she takes any momentum from the first half of the season into the second half of the season and the Fever make the playoffs, I don't even think they need to make the playoffs. She's the Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. I mean, well, Angel Reese, in all fairness, is doing the same thing. Like, she's also making history. Like, The triple double, by the way, was against the Liberty. So
There
very
it
good.
is. Okay,
The
so I
number
knew
one
it was a
team-
good
the
team. They
number one
needed
team.
every single one. Thank you, Sarah.
The number one team in the W. I mean, I'm just saying, Angel Reese. What Angel Reese does though is not as flashy, right? Like it's not triple doubles, it's not a ton of scoring in that way. It's double doubles, which is like the Tim Duncan stat, right? It's like not sexy, but so incredibly important. Like I said, her double doubles are already most in the league, and that's tied for second most by a rookie all time. She's probably going to break that. She at one point was on the longest double double streak that we'd ever seen. The only other person that had done it as a rookie was Candace Parker. So like she's also making history. Like if we're just looking at historical context and doing things we haven't seen before, like Angel Reese is doing the same thing. I'm still giving it to Caitlin just based on again how difficult it is for that game to translate. But I also think that one of the questions I'm interested too when you talk about the Aces is they've gone 10-2 since Chelsea Gray came back, and that's why they're in the middle of the pack right now. They were 6-6 to start, which is largely putting themselves in a big hole to start. But I'm asking you this because I find this to be interesting. It had no effect on Sabrina Ionescu and Brianna Stewart yesterday when they tipped off again. But I wonder, because 4 aces, as you remember, were on the Olympics team, and Chelsea Gray, Asia Wilson, Kelsey Plum, and Jackie Young. And not only were they on the Olympics, but they had like a significant role in the Olympic team. In fact, those 4 accounted for over 41% of the total points on that team. They accounted for over 45% of the assists. That tells me that those 4, I'll say those 3 really, because Chelsea didn't get as many minutes, played a ton of minutes. And on the one hand, you say, that's great. Like they didn't have a break. They don't have to warm back up. They've been working together. They've been playing together. Like this is great. On the other hand, you say, are they tired? Will this affect, the fatigue level of this? And I'm just interested in how that's going to play out as we look to see them make a push to be the first team since the Houston Comets to have a triple dub on the championship. So I'm interested to see if that's going to have any impact at all. Like I said, didn't on the Liberty, but man, they used a lot of minutes out there in France.
It's an extra month of play for them, while everybody who was on the U.S. women's national team obviously went to secure an 8th straight gold. But I sort of liken that to it's the extra month that those players of that caliber are used to playing anyway, a month, really 45 days past the regular season because they're in the playoffs. You know what I mean? So I think and obviously theirs is a little bit more condensed because they are the ones who outlasted everybody else and they played the longest. But I feel like that extra month and a half, the 45 days on the back end of the season is comparable, even actually more so of a degree than the Olympics, which is really, 2 group stage games. And then all of a sudden you're in the knockout. You got to win 5 games, right, in the Olympics. So the travel more than anything, I would think. But at this point, they're catered to and they get the best. So I don't see that being any sort of kind of issue. I would be more concerned actually with the teams who had the month layoff. Like Caitlin Clark deserved it. The Fever deserved it. Anybody who wasn't, part of that U.S. women's national team deserved taking that break. But we saw the videos, man. They were up at Yankee Stadium, chilling, cooling. They probably weren't eating salads. You know what I'm saying? They were at country music concerts, probably not drinking water. You know what I mean?
There are some teams that needed the break. The Minnesota Lynx, who started out so hot and then started faltering down the stretch. They needed like full stop. Connecticut Sun started out really hot, started faltering before the break. Full stop, right? The Fever, it's kind of the opposite. They were really rounding into form. They were playing their best basketball. Now, Caitlin needed the rest, and I think it is going to make a big impact. And I actually think it's not going to impact them as much because, again, what have we been saying? They just hadn't had times together. They hadn't had practice together. They hadn't had reps together. And I do think it's important to get away from the game a little bit and remember, what you love about it and miss it a little bit and be a person of the world. I mean, we talk about that. Like we work to death. And then you look up and you're like, well, I can't enjoy any of the fruits of my labor anyway. So I'm not worried about them in terms of that at all. I will say this. It's so unfair for these women who worked their off to win gold for this country and didn't get to do but a very paltry victory lap before having to get right back to work. And they're looking over and they're seeing the men, and the men are hanging out on yachts and doing their thing like Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. And when we come back on the Elle Duncan Show, just a quick little respite, just a quick little break, we're going to tell you what our dream yacht scenario would be in honor of Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, whose dream scenario was apparently just a bunch of scantily clad women.
Elle, I see your list, and that looks like a nightmare rotation.
Okay, we'll break it down after this. All right, Gary, have you ever been on a yacht?
I've been on a large yacht, a Royal Caribbean.
Okay, that's
Girl, I've been on a cruise. My parents are cruise people.
that's a
Didn't you
cruise ship.
say, didn't you say Tony and Clark are cruise people too?
Clark and Tony have been on a couple of cruises. They're not cruise people. They did a Viking River cruise, because they
Oh,
thought that the river was a little
like
easier,
calmer?
smaller. They're not like a big giant, 1700 room cruise type of people.
I see. My parents are like, yo, everybody get on the biggest boat that was just built. We're going to the damn Caribbean for 7 nights.
Y'all would have been on
And
the
hey,
Titanic.
I'm not mad at it. I know some people are like anti-cruise. I freaking love cruises. It's just set it and forget. Matter of fact, Christina, our producer, is on a cruise right now, honeymoon cruise. And I was
Yeah.
like, I'm peanut butter and jelly. You go to sleep and you wake up, you're in another country. It's
Yeah.
freaking awesome.
Yeah, yeah, sounds cool. I have been on. I actually haven't been on a big giant cruise before. I have
Okay.
been on a yacht before, though.
Yeah, you have.
Certainly not the size of the yacht that Devin Booker and Kevin Durant are on, partying it up. Because why wouldn't you? You're young-ish. You're rich. You just won a gold medal. I
Come
mean,
on.
life is good. You're both single and free and living your life. But it had us wondering, who on earth would you put on your yacht? Like, who's your dream? And let's just say, because the producers presented us with this is not unlimited invitations. This is a baby yacht. This is a mini yacht. This is one of
Oh,
those yachts.
hmm,
I'm putting it in air quotes that you rent in Mexico. And you're like, I
yeah.
got $500. What can I get? And they're
It's
like, you
got
can
it's got a weight limit. You can't bring everybody on this thing.
100%, right? Like it's not great. They always have a slide though.
Always.
And because of that, there's limited space on this tiny little baby yacht. And we have room for five. So, aside from us two, because we make up
Yep.
two, we're not bringing our significant others. This is
Okay.
a horrible example.
Yep.
But we have to decide on three people that we think would be dream yacht mates. And
Okay.
I'm going to throw my first one up there, Shaq, because Shaq is generous. He'll probably pay for the yacht. And you know what
Hmm.
else Shaq will do on the yacht? He will DJ the
He's
yacht
two for
party.
one. No, he's 2 for 1. No, I appreciate that. That's a heady pick. If we're dealing with a weight limit, all of a sudden, like these people, I mean,
He's
that's
big.
that's three whole people. So we're gonna disregard that. You're going with something specific. I'm going with a more broad type of person.
Okay.
Need a chef. You need somebody who can absolutely throw it down, like a mixologist, like a
Oh,
barista. Like I'm a
yeah.
30 something year old, right? So like 10 years ago, don't care about that. Like give me water, give me the turkey sandwiches that are pre-wrapped. Now I'm pushing 40. I need
Yeah.
somebody who's going to mix us the nice drinks. I need someone who's going to make us those nice, delicious, fulfilling dinners. But
Yeah.
like because it's a boat and we'll be, we're going to be dressed of the sort, we got to keep it somewhat light, somewhat
Well, yeah,
fresh.
I want someone that's like fishing it out of the water and cooking
Thank
it
you.
right there on the boat. So, Bobby Flay. Bobby Flay, huge sports fan, by the way, watches
Boom.
ESPN all the time. I've talked to Bobby on IG. Good dude. Let's invite Bobby Flay. I'm with it because the food is provided. He likes sports. He'd be fun to talk to. I like his personality. In.
That
All
was,
right.
I mean, let's not disregard that you and Bobby Flay are homies. What?
Yeah, we're just like Instagram homies.
Did
Like,
he like DM you and was like, yo, I'm a big fan?
he DM'd me to give a take on women's basketball because he's a fan. And I
That's
was
what's
like,
up.
hell yeah, like he's super cool, man. I was like, what's up, Bobby? I was like, man, I love you, Bobby. He taught me how to cut onions. Not him personally. I just watched a YouTube video. Never cut onions the same because of Bobby Flay. I
For
appreciate you.
real? He
Yeah,
changed
I
your
told
life?
him that too. He changed my life with that onion hack. I was like, appreciate you, homie. Let me throw another person out here. This
All
is
right.
based on 100% personal experience.
Okay.
I'm slowly realizing that this whole segment is becoming celebrities that I know. It should not. But
Wow.
I know for a fact this person is the most fun person in every room, and that's Megan Rapinoe.
Okay. What do you mean? Like, what kind of fun do you have to have while you're on a cruise? You're supposed to be chilling. You're supposed to be kicking it
No,
back.
you're not.
It's a,
Okay. Oh, wait. Are we yachting very different? We're yachting differently.
yeah,
You're
we're,
yachting like you want to lay out and
uh,
like read. Oh, no, 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 no,
yes.
no. If I'm spending money on this yacht, we're gonna thought on the yacht. Okay.
Okay.
We're gonna
No,
be super thoughty. We're gonna have a party. Shaq is there. What do you mean we're gonna lay around? Like we're
I
gonna have a
got,
great time.
I got thoughts on your thoughtness. Okay. THOUGHT for me, THOT for you. Listen, you're yachting. I'm catamaraning. All right.
Okay.
I'm sitting in that net.
Yeah, you're a pontoon guy.
Yeah, yes, I am a minivan on the water guy. L. So listen, I can't speak to your personal experiences. I have heard the stories that maybe we'll get into um, on future episodes of the El Duncan Show of Megan Rapinoe. You know what I'm saying? It's a 24-hour party. But in that same vein, somebody
Okay.
who's entertaining, somebody who, and this might be a little recency bias, okay? This morning on SportsCenter, we had Kenny Chesney on the program. He spent 10 good minutes with us. Give me somebody who like they're your homie, they're chill. I'm not saying Kenny Chesney's a close personal friend, even though he was cool as heck. Give me like a musician who's like chill, who can play like an acoustic. So when we're all just chilling there, Bobby Flay cooking something up for us, and he's like, "Hey, you mind if I sample some stuff for you guys?" And it's just like strings, and it's just super chill. It's just super chill.
Ew,
No,
God, we have such different. I was literally in my head. I was like, we should get the grandfather of EDM on the boat. We should get Tiesto.
There's the
of
last
course.
person we need. We do not need Tiesto
I'm
on
like,
the
we
boat.
should get like someone that's gonna just let's get DJ Knight. Let's get like D Nice. Like let's get someone that will rap. And you're literally like, we should get John Mayer.
Straight
He
up.
could play Your Body as a Wonderland on his acoustic set.
I'm saying.
And then Kenny G could come and play behind him with a saxophone. What horrible yacht party is this? This sounds boring.
See, you're thinking DJ on the yacht. I'm thinking PJs on the yacht. Something chill. You know what I'm saying?
Pajama
This
party.
This is for the olds. This is for the people who like can talk at this level and still have a conversation with their friends and this small quaint group of people who have decided to come on this catamaran with us. You know what I'm saying? I don't need all the extra noise, El. And I'm surprised coming from you and Omar with 2 children under 5 that a little peace and damn quiet isn't top's priority on your yacht list.
No, the whole point is that you haven't heard the term like parents night out. Like they while out and act insane because they always have to work within the confines of parenting. So your kids are away. I'm trying to stay up. I'm trying to party. I'm trying to kick it because I get to sleep in the next day. Absolutely not. Now, here's what I find even more interesting because I think we agreed Shaq, Bobby Flay, maybe Megan Rapinoe or Kenny Chesney. I'm going with Megan on the boat because shockingly, and I know this is going to surprise everyone that listens to the show, Gary chose all men. Wow, shocked. But who are the names of people who we would be a nightmare yacht scenario? Like this is literally your worst nightmare. You're trapped on a boat in the middle of the ocean with these people and there's no way off. And I'm going to throw the first name out there. Antonio Brown.
I'm a co-sign with that because
he's just such a wild card. He's going to do something inappropriate. He's going to say something inappropriate. He's likely to like drive the yacht into the rocks just to see like it just would be, I think it would be bad and it would not, maybe it would be entertaining for an hour or so.
It wouldn't be. No, it would not
and
be.
And then it just would go completely off the rails.
No, Antonio, if first of all, if Antonio Brown is on this boat, I'm not going to be on this boat. I'm going to tell you that right now. All right, y'all catch me on the shore. All right, y'all have fun out there. Antonio, if Antonio Brown was on this yacht and I happened to accidentally found my way on it, I'm sleeping with one eye open. I might not sleep. Okay.
Who do you think would be a nightmare?
Again, like I can't think of anybody like specific.
Okay, good. Conor McGregor.
What's wrong with him?
He's the worst. Oh God.
Why?
And he would just probably talk in the third person and he would just be sounding like proper number 9. And would be a lot. And he'd overdrink. And like the same thing. He's just too much of he's like too much of a loose cannon. I couldn't know if it would be a chill time or a not chill time, or if he'd want to fight, or if he would just decide that like someone looked at him wrong, like a dolphin, and then he would jump into the water and try to attack it. Like there's just too much unknown commodity. No thanks.
I get that. Understood. But think about how he can firsthand teach you how to speak with an Irish accent, and that would be cool, is what I'm saying.
Well, you clearly need the lesson.
Yeah, I do. Elle, you are the linguistics expert here in this tandem.
Well, I'm lucky because my daughter has an Irish teacher, so she always talks
about
what Eva does and doesn't do in class. And well, her name is Miss Angela, and she's from Ireland, so I have a little bit of preparation and talking to her every day.
That's pretty good, Elle. That's good.
She's great. She's like so hardcore too. Like I've learned with her that if you've got an Irish accent, you can say some like hardcore and it will just slide through. Like we were talking about Thanksgiving. And like what the kids were doing surrounding Thanksgiving, like the planning and the projects and stuff. And she's like, and I make sure to tell the kids when I ask them, what is Thanksgiving all about? And they say, oh, it's the turkey and it's the desserts. And I say, okay, but it's also all about pestilence and disease because that's what the pilgrims brought to the indigenous people. I'm like, whoa, she goes there.
Damn.
So yeah, she's legit. Gotta love Miss Angela.
Okay, Miss Angela, you keep doing your thing, fighting that good fight, giving
Put
us those
the
potatoes.
Give us those potatoes, baby. In fact, you know what goes great with some French fries?
Ketchup.
Mayonnaise. No one ever said
Oh,
that, but I imagine Will Levis feels that way. Have you seen this commercial of Will Levis, who is in a cologne collabo with Hellman's Mayo? Clearly this is a stunt. Clearly this is not a real mayonnaise, even though they claim that it is. That's absolutely disgusting. And to be honest, I kind of want to puke when I see the video. But the video has certainly been interesting. It's giving Fabio, it's giving
mm-hmm,
Backstreet Boys and the I
mm-hmm.
Want It That Way
Yep,
video.
yep.
And honestly, Gary, when I saw Will Levis take a big bite of a scoop of mayo, the first thing I thought was, is this considered cannibalism?
This is why they take you and bring you on First Take, because you could hold your own. And if that went over your heads, listen to it again. Will Levis
Eating
eating
mayonnaise.
mayonnaise, that's good. That's content. That's comedy. That's highbrow. It's also disgusting. El, I've said this on this program many times that ever I don't ever criticize or begrudge any other culture's food because as a Korean dude, I've had my American friends come into my house when it smells like who knows what, and it's embarrassing because you're like, yeah, no, this is like a Korean delicacy. It's kimchi or it's this type of fish. So I'm very, very particular about criticizing food, except mayonnaise. Mayonnaise is disgusting.
It's so
It
gross.
looks weird. It's gelatinous. It smells weird. It doesn't even taste good. And half of the time, it's just used as a binding agent for two other foods. I don't get it.
Yeah.
But as a guy who understands content, knows how to get eyeballs, knows how to grab attention, this is brilliant for Will Levis.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it is brilliant for Will Levis, who most people don't remember is a Titan. Just in case
Yes.
you're going, wait,
Future of the
which one is this?
franchise,
How
they
do I know that
hope.
name? How do I know that name? How do I know that name? Titan, going into his second year. And certainly for a team that has landed on nobody's list. You know, every year when you're doing that sort of like the season outlook and we're going through all of our, that's one of those teams where legitimately it's like 10 days before the season and you're like, oh yeah, they do exist. That's kind of
Straight
where the
up.
Titans are right now. Just about as irrelevant as could possibly be. But this brings them back to the irrelevancy circle. You can go on willlevisnumber8.com and actually purchase perfumed mayonnaise, which retails for $8.
Oh,
Here's my thing. I want to buy this because I want to force you to wear it and see
I'll
if people
puke.
get a reaction. I feel like that's something that we could do. Just like tape you walking up to people at the pod wearing this and see if they like recoil in horror. But I feel like all this is going to be this is either going to be like a designer imposter perfume level of cologne because it's $8,
Yes.
or it's just going to be a jar of mayo. I'm so excited because we have voicemails and
Let's
we're going to
go.
get to those in just a second. Because here on the Elle Duncan Show with Gary Streisky, we like to, yes, talk about sports, but also sports adjacent things. We like to pull you guys in. And so we're going to do a little tea time before we get to these voicemails. And apparently, Gary, because you are a huge purveyor of Reddit, I have Reddit. It's again one of those apps I forget I have till I
Mhm.
go to click on something on the internet and then it pops up on my Reddit app. I'm like, that's right, I do have this app. There was apparently some scenario on Reddit that you think is interesting fodder. What happened to this poor woman when she tried to just compliment her boyfriend?
Okay, El, so Reddit, the front page of the internet. I think I destroyed our relationship trying to compliment my boyfriend. Boyfriend and I have both been together for 2.5 years. Yesterday night, we were drinking. One thing led to another. I tried to compliment him by saying he is not someone I would hook up with or be friends with benefit with, but marry. I thought everything was fine, but he seemed extremely distraught after that. I realized under how he understood it and tried to clarify it, but he's still the same this morning. He told me he needs space for a while and left the house. All my friends tell me I messed up. Guys tell me it's not a compliment, and most men will understand it differently. I think I destroyed our relationship. I am panicking right now. Yes, you idiots. You should be. Why? What in the hell
Yeah.
went through? You have mayonnaise for brains. If you thought in your brain this was at all any type of compliment, this was like you ain't that dude who I'm going home with at night when my inhibitions have run wild. You're the safe bet.
Yeah.
Yikes.
It's very much that because men want to believe that they could be that guy that you would just at a bar and then
Yeah.
be like, I want him. And basically what she was saying was, I never ever would have pulled you out of a lineup. I never would have wanted to simply salaciously, lustfully hook up with you.
Yeah.
You're one of those guys that you got to get to know. That's 100% what
Oh,
she said to him. Like, you're one of those guys, you're a crock pot relationship, slow and simmering, and then you try to turn it by being like, but crock pot relationships stay hotter longer, not microwaves. But men want to be microwaves. They do. Men want to be microwaves. Like, if my husband had told me, like, you're not the kind of girl that I take home and just like whatever, you're the type of person that you take home to mom. I've always found that to be really insulting too. I
yeah.
have, like, the people that are like, it's like, no, I want to be both. I want to be the person that you
Yeah.
wanted to storm out of the bar with, and also the one that after doing that, you realized you could also take home to mom. Not one
I'm
or the other.
saying.
Not one or the other.
Yeah, and listen, this thing's got layers to it, Elle, because also her actually putting that out into the ether makes me believe that she still wants part of that sort of aspect in her life. It's just bad, Elle. Listen,
Wait, wait.
what?
I just started like looking through some of the comments, and can I just pick out my favorite? And
Oh
it's
my God.
true. This is
Here we go.
this comment says, "This is the same energy as yours is perfect. The big ones hurt."
Oh no. That's brutal. I mean,
It
two and a half
is.
years,
It
2.5 years at
is.
28. I mean, listen, we don't have pictures of these people, but I will generally say, all right, dudes come into their prime a little bit later than women. So if this is the end of the road, which is all her doing, by the way, my man is going to be fine because he obviously has the chops, the acumen, the intangible, the tangible things to hold down a long distance or a long-term relationship. And I'm just saying, my brother, right now she is looking at you as a crock pot, but there's a woman out there who needs a microwave. All right. Now get out there and deliver that hot pocket to that woman. You know what I'm saying?
Oh God.
She's out there for you. She is out there for you.
Like, imagine you're watching the Olympics with Abby and you guys are watching pole vaulting, and she's like, "Don't worry, Gary, that would never happen to you."
That's unbelievable. And you know what I would say? I was like, you're right, because I'm scared of heights. I'm scared of heights like that. You know what I'm saying? I
Oh my
am.
God.
All right.
Oh man, you
I'm
just
better in the
called.
pool.
This is my favorite part of the show. What I learned today is that Gary called a penis a hot pocket, and I'm into it. And if you're into it, you should call us 203-805-8166 because we're reacting to some voicemails we already got. Now, we asked you guys before, just relationship issues having to, this is based off of the Olympic story of two teammates that were playing tennis, right? Was it tennis? Were they tennis
Yeah.
partners? And they broke
Double.
up and they still had to do the Olympics together. And just the most awkward situations. I told you guys a story about my friend that worked with two of her exes at the same place at the
That's
same
crazy.
time. And so we got some voicemails from people who wanted to share their most super awkward relationship situations. Who's the first caller?
Hey, L, Gary. Yeah, just calling in about my most awkward encounter with my former wife. I found out through my son, through a conversation, this guy had bought my son an Xbox. And I'm like, who is this guy? Who are you talking about? His name is, Jesse, right? That song, I wish I had Jesse's girl, will never be the same because of this dude. I knew they were going to be at church on Sunday, so I roll up on him at church. And I'm like, hey, that's my wife. And he's like, hey, it starts to escalate. He's like, you want to take this outside? I go out to the hallway. I start crying. And then the security guard, he's consoling me or whatever and just started telling me like, yeah, I used to stalk my baby mama as well. He's like, just go to Hooters.
There were the 12 apostles, but sometimes the root of your salvation is just a pair of Hooters.
Make it one of the commandments. Thou shalt cool off at the Hooters bar.
Hell yeah. Hey, because Hooters, it's been a while since I've been there, but Hooters got the big temperature screen right above the bar that's like, here's how cold our beer is right now. So there are many signs in Hooters above us, sometimes right in front of us, that are like, hey, there's better. There's better out there.
Thank you so much for joining the Elle Duncan Show. Remember to rate, subscribe, and review, and tell people about it. Maybe not that last part, but make sure to tell someone about it because we want to keep going and chugging along. And if you want to share any awkward stories with us or scripture, 203-805-8166 is our voicemail. Call us at your own risk. And hey, a little housekeeping for you. We're actually going to be changing our schedule a little bit for the fall for football season. We will have new shows for you on Tuesdays and Fridays. That again is when football season starts, starting next week. We will have shows for you released on Tuesdays and Fridays. You'll still be able to get them in all the same places: Spotify, YouTube TV, all that good stuff. But remember, Tuesdays and Fridays from here on out. Holler.